Whew, a little bit cold out here today. Holy cow. What is that, 8 degrees? A little bit nippy. See if I can't get this to get a good, better view. Welcome everybody to another episode of Coffee and Chat. It is cold outside. It was 8 degrees this morning. I do believe that's what it said. With winter finally actually being here and it's actually starting to get really cold, I decided today I should talk about short-term winter survival. Sounds simple enough, but it's amazing how many people every year actually freeze to death because of the cold weather, whether you're in upstate New York or out in northern Washington, and even in some places farther south. Especially here in North Dakota, it gets really cold some days. And some days it wouldn't take long for you to freeze. Basically, what I'm going to discuss is just a small thing. You hit a patch of ice, end up in the ditch, and you're waiting on a tow. Or maybe you are in the middle of nowhere. You don't know exactly where you're at. And maybe then you got to figure out what you got to do. So what I consider short-term survival is a couple of hours to a couple of days, I would figure. With that being said, it is recommended to have a survival bag in your vehicle, or just a box with whatever you need to survive in case it gets really cold. But before we get to that, my cousin has written a book, and it's published, and I'm fairly excited. I am roughly halfway through right now. I don't really get all that much time to sit and read. So, if you have a young adult who is interested in like a young love, romantic fantasy kind of books, this is Captivated by Abigail Grant. You can go on Amazon and you can pick one up for, I think I got this for $7. And she'd be much appreciative of that. Anyways, onwards to our discussion. First thing you need to do, no matter where you're going to be or what you're going to do, you got to figure out how you're going to store your stuff in your vehicle. I picked up a bag a few years ago from I think it was Menards. It was like 20 bucks. And we've used it. I still use this bag. I change it up. Well, my phone cut out. Don't know why. I just decided to do so. Anyways, I picked up that bag for like 20 bucks. And we've used it hiking through the woods and setting it up for hunting and anything else. So it seems to be a pretty decent bag. I haven't had any problems with it. And that is my storage bag that I use for all my stuff. Now, my bag is set up in such a way that I could survive longer than just 3 days, but we're only going to go through the things you will need for a short-term survival situation. If, say, you go in the ditch, you get snowed in, and you don't know where you're at, or you don't know how long it's going to take for someone to come help you. So I guess I might as well get into it. Obviously, one of the first things you want in your vehicle is a good blanket. Keeping yourself warm is very, very, very important. Apparently, some people don't realize that. So, yeah, you want to keep a good blanket in your vehicle. This is an old wool military blanket that I've used it out while hunting before just to test it out, see how it works. It works pretty well for me. With the rule of keeping warm, here is a suggestion for staying warm for, say, a few hours or whatever you end up being stuck. Stay in your vehicle and out of the elements. It's very important to stay out of the elements. That is the worst thing, is the wind, snow, rain, or whatever. It's the worst thing in the world for you is to get stuck in those elements. If you can help it, I should say. Run your vehicle for half an hour at a time and shut her down for half an hour. Make sure you have a full tank of gas. That is also important. One thing that I tend to forget, so don't think I'm some sort of expert. I tend to forget to make sure my gas tank is completely full when I take off during a blizzard or during harsh weather. It's always good to keep warm, yeah. Now, for anything else, store water. If it freezes in your vehicle, that's okay, but store it. If you have just a water bottle or a canteen or whatever you're using, it does not matter. Make sure you have a full bottle of water in your vehicle at all times. You can only go 3 days without water. On a separate note, when you fill up your water bottle, make sure they're not completely full. Leave about an inch gap at the top, because when it freezes, it'll expand. And you don't want a blown water bottle in your vehicle. And if it does freeze and you get stuck, you can always warm it up on the inside pocket of your coat. Keep a flashlight. That is also important. This is a wind-up flashlight. It's not the brightest flashlight. And half the time I don't have it wound up. But when you wind it up, it does light up. That way you don't have to worry about batteries. Batteries like to get eaten up in this this cold weather. I don't know if I mentioned this yet. Keep your cell phone charged. If you have signal, make sure you get a hold of somebody, which is probably the first thing anyone would do anyways. But some people, they think they know it all or whatever. Find out later on. Oh no. Another thing I almost forgot here. This is a survival shovel. Don't want to use it for anything else. But you can use this to dig yourself out if you're just stuck. Now, understandably, you only want to get out of your vehicle if you absolutely have to. Because again, you don't want to be out in the elements for very long if you can avoid it. But a good shovel is always good to have. I also have a scoop shovel in the back of my pickup that I could use if I need it. If you are driving around, it wouldn't hurt, which I did not bring inside. It doesn't hurt to have a tow rope in case someone comes along that can actually help you out with a big enough vehicle. I've tried to tow some vehicles out and they were just so stuck I couldn't get it with mine. So another smart idea that I found, mirrors. Always have some mirrors for reflecting light. If for oncoming traffic, or maybe you kind of slid down in the ditch where someone can't see you, you can always signal for some help, or you can get up on the road and signal for some help. This is always a great idea. Now, almost forgot. In your vehicle, no matter where you are, no matter where you're going, you should always have a road map. This is a North Dakota road map. I pretty much can get around anywhere within 40 or 50 miles from myself using just back roads. But if you're in a state or a city that you don't know, always have a road map. Because if your phone dies, if your phone breaks, if this happens or that happens, have a road map. Bad things happen sometimes that you cannot avoid. So please have a road map. Well, obviously today, my wife and my kid are not here to keep me chuckling and laughing at you guys. So I'm going to try to keep this as entertaining as I can. It's survival stuff. Can get entertaining if you're interested in it, but at the same time, it could also be very droll if you don't have the right teacher, and I'm not much of a teacher. Now, all that is good to have for, say, if you're expecting to be saved within the hour, couple hours, maybe 3 or 4 hours or whatever. Hopefully you don't have to stay out all night or more than one day. But if you do, it's always good to be prepared. Around here, you don't have to worry about it. The roads that we take, normally the highways and all throughout the night, you'll see people going back and forth. A lot of deputies and highway patrol constantly back and forth. And they're more than willing to help out if they can. And we have pretty much cell service in most places these days. So that kind of helps out a lot. However, if, say, you're traveling to parts unknown, you don't know how your GPS is taking you down some back road somewhere that you've never been, and there's trees everywhere, and it doesn't look like this road has been scraped down for months out in time. Maybe no one lives anywhere where you're at or any of that stuff. It's always good to have extra stuff. And that's where I come into my things like fire starting kits, matches. I keep these on me anyways. I don't need them, but I keep them on me anyways. Let's see here. Good amount of rope. This has a 300-pound working load, so it'll be good to, say, hang up a shelter if need be, or tie a tarp, which is another good thing to have. I don't have it in here, but tie a tarp around to keep the wind off your vehicle, or however you feel like doing things. And metal cups. This one I've used on a fire to boil water before. It's always good to have a metal cup. If you need a safe spot to light a fire, you can put small sticks and twigs and anything in there, and you can start a fire in there. If it's going to be longer than a day or so, you're going to be hungry. I got this multi-tool. I think I got it at Walmart for like 10 or 15 bucks a few years back. It is a spoon, a knife, a butter knife, and a can opener on there. Always good to have. On to the next. Let's see what else I got. I got all kinds of random stuff in here that I figure I may or may not ever need. I got a winter or a survival box. Has a compass on the top. It's waterproof, watertight. This is one thing people rarely ever think of. Toenail clippers. You would be amazed at what you can do with toenail clippers. You can clip some, we've clipped chicken wire with it, or snip some ropes, and all kinds of stuff. And this little box, I just got more fire starting stuff. Hooks, just randomness. Extra medicines in case you need them. A rain poncho. And a lighter and some matches or ferro rods. Ferro rods. Take some practice. Get used to it. Take them out. Use them. Try them. Worst case scenario, you've never used this thing and you light a fire with your matches and your lighter, and then you start practicing with this thing if you have to. But it's probably better off for you to practice before you get into any survival situation. Oh, man. A lot more here than I thought. And it's a lot very... What is the word I'm looking for? It does sound boring. It seemed very boring. And if you're going to be out there for longer than a few days, or you need to find your way back, it's always good to have a compass. Learn how to read a compass. Learn how to read a compass with a map. Learn what all the dots and the nudges are for and why you could turn the thing. where it goes here and there. What's the deal with the magnifying glass? Learn how to read a compass, please. It's an old school technique. Most people don't feel like they need because we have cell phones. But what if you're in a place you don't have any service? What if your cell phone dies? This is a harp I gotta get into people. They don't like to listen. And those are just a few things that I like to keep on me for short-term survival. There's a few other things here. If you're going to be gone and it's wintertime and you need to start a fire, it's probably a good idea to have an axe, hatchet, whatever you need. I actually have a felling axe down here also that I put on there. This little camp axe, I'm not very impressed with this. It's a cheap $6 axe you get at Walmart. It's kind of a piece of junk, but it holds together and it cuts wood when you need it to. And it's got a little spot for pulling nails if you need it, I guess. And obviously, dehydrated foods are always a good idea. I don't know about you. I get hungry. Really hungry. And I like to eat. So I keep some dehydrated foods on me. There's a bunch of randomness down here. Here's my felling axe I got it at a yard sale for $4. I haven't tried it out yet. One of these days I might get to it, and I probably should sharpen it. Keeping your tools sharp and ready to go at any given time. So, those are some of the basic things I keep on hand. I also got a couple handkerchiefs. You never know what you're going to use them for. You might have to cover up your mouth if you're in one of those states where you have to have a cloth face covering for some reason, or maybe you just need to insulate your face for some reason. You forgot your scarf at home. Or maybe you need to use it as a filter for making a water filter. All these things are different things, but a lot of these things I have here are for more long-term survival. But if you can survive for short-term, that's the big deal in the wintertime. Be able to survive long enough to get a tow truck or a police officer or someone else to give you a ride out of there. Heard stories about people sitting in their vehicles that won't start, and then with all the junk they just bought at the mall or whatever they were doing, and freezing to death with it instead of going inside. So it takes a little bit of smarts as well, I guess, to make sure you survive. If you start getting cold and you're at a place of business, you should probably just go inside where the heat's working. That's pretty much it. I mean, I got a lot of other junk here, but it wouldn't hurt to have a small medical kit. You get a cut on your head or anything like that. Or, yeah. Now, you don't necessarily have to listen to me. I'm no expert at survival. I do enjoy doing survival things. Lauren and I have survived some horribly cold winters where we were sitting out in the cold for long periods of time. I'm talking weeks at a time, where we would fall asleep and our water bottles would be freezing, and where pretty much the fire we had barely kept us above freezing. So we have life experience in these things, so it's kind of makes it a little easier to talk about. There is one more thing I wanted to talk about. You beautiful ladies out there. I know you're gorgeous, and I know you're getting dressed up to go out on a date with Mr. Right. Maybe he's your husband, maybe he's your boyfriend, maybe it's the guy you just met and you're going on your first date. And you're probably going to put on your cute tops and your tight pants or whatever, and then you're just going to put on a little frilly coat. That's all fine and dandy. You go ahead and do that. But please, I beg of you, if it's going to be cold, if it's going to be anywhere below 40 degrees in your vehicle, make sure you have warm clothes. Keep some coveralls if you can afford them. They are quite expensive, but it's amazing how well they work. And I know you want to wear those cute little heels that you've been wanting to take out forever. Keep some warm socks and warm boots in your vehicle and a thick, warm coat. It's one thing to not feel cold when you walk 5 minutes from your vehicle to the movie theater or into the restaurant or wherever you're going. But please make sure, and I know that look that you got right now is gorgeous, but make sure you have the stuff in your vehicle. Because if you walk out of that restaurant just before they close, or the bar or the movie theater or wherever you're meeting whomever, and this goes for guys too, I guess. Some guys like to dress a little fancier than others. Keep these things in your vehicle, because you walk out right when they lock the door, you get in your vehicle, you forgot to turn your headlights off or for your blinker off or something was in your vehicle. I'm guilty of not turning things off in my pickup and it dying on me. So I keep my coveralls in my vehicle. I always have a thick coat and a couple layers to wear. And it's okay to change into those when you get out and you realize that your car's not starting, the building's locked up, and there's nobody around. So yes, that is a little bit of advice from me. Yeah, as far as that goes, I think I got everything covered. I do recommend keeping a tarp. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but I do recommend keeping a tarp. Tarps are very useful. I've had a tarp for my bag in my vehicle that I ended up having to take off and use it to cover up a trailer to make sure things don't fly out and whatever. But if I understand if you can get the cheap ones, I don't recommend those cheap ones because the wind will rip them apart. It does not matter if you make a shelter, what kind of shelter, the wind will rip them apart. My plan is for myself, myself and Lauren, I want to get a couple of them 8x6 canvas tarps. They're a lot more expensive than the little $2 plastic ones, but they will hold up better, and they are heavier in case if I have to hike home for any number of reasons. It would be very imperative for me to have that. I know that where I work is about 20 miles or so from where I live. If for some reason I can't catch a ride, which I know a good portion of the people in that town and this town, and for whatever reason I can't catch a ride or whatever and I have to hike home, it's always good to have a tarp on hand to go with your rope and everything else. My next word of advice, I would say go camping. Go camping in the springtime, in the summertime, in the winter, or in the fall. Probably not in the wintertime because, you know, if you can avoid it, try not to. But go camping and learn how to use all this stuff. If you're a hunter, even if you hunt, I don't know, a mile off the road, take some stuff and just get used to using it. Well, I think I covered everything. What I might need to do... Oh! Get really excited. I ordered some trees. Isn't that spectacular? For long-term survival on the homestead. I ordered 3 different varieties of apple trees. And then I ordered 3 different varieties of raspberries. I think I ordered a purple, black, and a golden raspberry. And then gooseberry. And I think later on I'll order some more currants, but for now that'll work. So I'm pretty excited about that. Yesterday I spent some time working in this office of mine, getting some heavy-duty tinfoil. I got some things at the Dollar General. Check these guys out. Cowboy gnome. Yoga gnome doing some meditations. Nothing wrong with decorating up your seed starting station, I don't think. Got me a rooster. I get excited about the silliest things. And I got me a little gnome house. Ooh, there is one thing I forgot. One thing that I always carry on me. I always have in my bag, and I always have one up on my headboard here in the house. This is my Bible I got when I was in the military. I like to have it on me. I like to go through it on occasion and see how I can help myself and my family. There's nothing wrong with that, I don't think. Looking towards the big guy, especially in survival situations, he'll look out for you. And yeah, I forgot something else and I don't remember what I was going to say. All I know is I got to put all this stuff back together in my bag, and I got to get it back out to my pickup where my coveralls are, and then I got to get, I don't remember. It was something. It was something important, I'm sure. Well, I suppose I better let you guys go to it, and I'm going to get back to this and get some things done. I'll keep you guys updated on the growing, and when I get my trees in, and when I get to starting some seeds, I'm going to order some or go pick some up. I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to do it. A little bit at a time. That's the consensus, I think. Yeah. So yeah, I'll call it good there. You guys have a good day, have a good weekend, have an interesting winter, and happy trails!